there's a long way to go in this Sports Specials season, but still everything to play for. 5-second board has been shown. 15-minute race for the FreakyParts Sports Specials Championship. Almost ready for the off. Red lights go on. And out they go. Good start by Lewis Ward from the outside of the front row. Bit of a smoky start for someone a little bit further back, I think, but they've all got away and down towards Clervaux Corner for the first time. It is Lewis Ward that's got the lead of the race in his Westfield. Then from Andy Hiley in second place, Paul Collingwood third. Then you've got two of the Mevs side by side, and four of them together, and that's the Warren Vetty, the Class B winner from race 1. He's spun at the second corner at Hawthorne there. He's gone right to the back of the field, so he's got work to do, and the two leaders are almost side by side as they go to Tower Corner. Hiley on the outside line. I think he's done it, yes, around the outside, yes he has. So Andy Hiley gets the better of Lewis Ward at Tower on the opening lap of the race. Is locking up a little bit there. A bit further back down the order was the number 76 Mev of David Hughes.
Yeah, Warren Vetty's got it all to do now from the back, hasn't he? But riding on board with one of the Eclipses. That's Paul Boyd's, isn't it? Yeah. The yellow one. And you can see up ahead of him is Clive Hudson. Ahead of Hudson is the Dayglow car of Gary Goodyear, the ARL. And that's coming out of Sunny up towards the complex. And you can see them now approaching. Anton Landon is behind that group. And then we've got 4 of the Mevs together, with Stuart Much at the head of that group. Dan Griffin, I think, behind him. Then we've got, I think it's Mickey Scott, and then the emerald-coloured car in there of David Hughes.
As Paul Collingwood peels into the pit lane at the end of the first lap, so he's had problems. He finished 4th in race 1, and yeah, he's stopped his car just down beneath us and getting out of it now, so he's out of the race. We're back on board with Paul Boyd, though. Clive Hudson just ahead of him, the two old friends and rivals, and just ahead you've got the Gary Goodyear ARL as well.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Fantastic riding on board. Let's see the Alpha Live cameras, and you can see now, see whether Paul Boyd, who's got Anton Landon absolutely herring after him in the Sienna. There's been a change up ahead because Hudson's dived past the 56 car of Goodyear into Tower, and that exposes Goodyear to the next to the Eclipses, which is Paul Boyd, with the Sienna there behind as well. So this is Hudson, Goodyear, Boyd and Landon running 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th.
Yep, and they're at Sunny Corner now, in and out of it very quickly indeed. And Goodyear then just ahead of Paul Boyd. The top two really have got a long way clear already. We've only had less than 2 laps, but it's Andy Hiley leading and Lewis Ward in second position at the moment. There is Goodyear, and he's both trying to get a position away from Hudson and under pressure from Paul Boyd all at the same time, with the Sienna there of Landon in 6th. And there's a gap back to the first of the Class C cars, which is Stuart Much, as you can see on screen there. Andy Hiley is just in the best lap of the race, a 1:27.10, half a second faster than he managed in the first race. So that's interesting, because in the other races we've seen the lap time slower in the second race.
Yeah, it is, and that's the type of car I guess this is. Just responds a little bit better this time of day.
Yeah, so he's getting away from Lewis Ward in second, down towards Tower Corner. We've got this 4-way fight for 3rd position. Boyd on camera car, number 17, just behind Gary Goodyear. Both of these very experienced races in this championship now. In fact, all 4 of these very experienced races in this championship. Here you can see the Mev division, a whole phalanx of them heading through, 4 of them together. Stuart Much, Mickey Scott, David Hughes and Darren Griffin. I think they're still in that order.
Yes, they've changed from the first lap, a wholesale change, with the exception of Much, who still leads that little bunch.
And there's Nigel Brown on screen. He's just behind the Class B leader. Brown himself a Class A driver, but the Class B leader there you can see on screen, that's number 30, Stuart Thompson.
Yes, who leads his class, and has got a bit of a cushion now, of course, because Warren Vetty went off. Now, I saw Lewis Ward's car, I think ahead of that group, it looked a little bit little bit smoky. Here comes Boyd on Goodyear. Comes to the inside as he gives the outbreaks and calmly down the inside. There ahead of him is the putty grey coloured Eclipse.
Yeah, well, he's made it through, hasn't he? So the two Eclipses now ahead of 56. Gary Goodyear, he's gone down to 5th position, and Anton Landon there in 6th. So Boyd will pick up the chase of Clive Hudson now. Hudson, though, is about a second or so ahead of him at the moment. Goodyear turning his way through Tower there with 10 minutes of the race left to go, so still 2/3 of it to go. Head off through the Jim Clark S's towards Barcroft and Sunny once again. Slap the race to Andy Hiley at 1:26.25. In Class B, Stuart Thompson leads, of course. Marcus Roskill second, Brad Snow third, and Warren Vesey is in 4th position, but trying to make up time after that off on the opening lap.
Yeah, he's got past Hayward and Robinson, hasn't he? So.
Yeah. Leaders coming through to complete their 4th lap, which is Andy Hiley still ahead of Lewis Ward.
1:26.25 is the new fastest lap for our race leader.
Here's the Mevs, and it is a real battle. There's the 58 car, which is Mickey Scott, second in that group behind number 7 Stuart March, but he brakes late there, does Mickey Scott, and I think that really compromises his exit from the corner. David Hughes and Darren Griffin, they're going to swap places as well, I think. Someone's kicked up the dust, I can see it, Clairvaux. I think it's one of those cars that are in 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, but I know not which one. They're there on the screen now, though.
It's Warren Vesey having a good go to take another place.
Just on screen, Anton Landon now ahead of Gary Goodyear. So I said it may well have been Goodyear kicking up the dust and Landon sneaking through as he did so.
Yeah, fastest lap, 1:26.25, more than a second quicker than he went earlier on.
That's quite something.
For our race leader, Andy Hiley.
Yes, and as we said, well underneath the lap record, but that was 5 years old, so very different conditions prevailing at that time.
And a different surface.
Different surface. Cars have been developed further, so lots of things explaining why it's been so comprehensively reduced, that lap record. Battle coming through into the complex. There's Goodyear, who's lost ground, so he was 3rd, wasn't he, in the early stages.
Yeah.
Now in 6th, with half of this race still to go. Pull on to the straight. Oh, and there's Vesey, and he's alongside Snow now. As that's at Sunny Corner, coming down towards the complex here. So Vesey in the 46 car. He's the
Snow's
driver.
got him back.
He has. I don't think that's the end of it, though.
No, the Snow car, is Snow very tall? Or is it the ergonomics of the car that are very strange? He seems to sit on that car.
He does, doesn't he? Brad Snow in the Silver Phoenix from Bristol.
Oh, and Snow gets a real fired off the curb across towards the pit lane, so he lost out. Had to back off out of it. And we've got Hudson touched the grass on the exit of Tower. And Boyd went straight past him, so that was a change.
Meanwhile, we've had a spinner, 26 Alan Robinson on the exit of the hairpin. So yes, it is now Boyd up to 3rd position ahead of Clive Hudson, number 15 now. So Boyd probably as high up as he's going to get in this race, unless one of the two leaders falls off, because 15 seconds and 18 seconds ahead respectively, as Hiley goes through to complete lap number 6. With about 9 minutes of the race left to go. 6 minutes of the race left to go, I should say. So we're counting down rather than up on our screen.
Bodywork on those Eclipses different, with the sort of fared-in tonneau cover on the on Hudson's car.
They go over the line. Anton Landon 5th, 64 car, and 56 is Gary Goodyear. So it's 53 the leader, Andy Hiley, 4 in 2nd Lewis Ward, and 17 Paul Boyd, 15 Clive Hudson, 64 Anton Landon, 56 Gary Goodyear. And then the battle that you can see on screen now, Mickey Scott is still there in the 58 car, just behind the Class C leader, which is Stuart Much.
Oh, the bonnet's missing from the Griffin car. hard to tell really, but it's,
Yes.
it is missing. You see straight into the engine bay, and here comes a change, and that's the green MEV. That's David Hughes coming past 58, which is Mickey Scott.
Very evenly matched, these cars. I believe they are 1.8 litre turbocharged cars that race within Class C in the MEV Exocet
Hughes
chassis.
is now really challenging Stuart Much, but I mean, if Stuart Much is the sort of Mr. MEV,
Yeah.
then he won't want to be losing out points, will he, to his to his buddies here, because the MEV class can now qualify to win the championship.
It can indeed, and I think we said points-wise, there's only about 3 points covering the first 4 in the points coming into this round.
Yeah.
But a long way to go still. And they're ahead on the road of Stuart Thompson and Nigel Brown as well. You just saw them briefly in the background there.
Landon's got the Sienna going a bit better now, and he's closing in on Clive Hudson.
He is, yeah. That time through, Landon did a 1:28.57. Hudson did a personal best lap of 1:28.93, but it was still slower than what Landon achieved on that lap by about 4 tenths per second.
28.57, so the gap between them is about 8 tenths.
There goes the Class C battle over the line, followed by the Class B driver, and then the Class A driver, so Class B driver being
Vesey has virtually caught 44, which is Marcus Roskill, isn't it?
which will be for second within Class B, that battle now.
Yes, because the car between them and Stuart Thompson in the MKRR is the A-class car of Nigel Brown.
And there's also about 10 or 11 seconds between them as well, so I
There is
think
that.
second is probably as much as Warren Vesey can hope for in this race within Class B. And it will be important for him to try and get up there for points within Class B in the championship standings. It's only even distribution between all 3 classes on the grid today. No class has significantly more cars than any other. So that's the 42 car we're looking at, Darren Griffin. So 4th of the MEVs, the Class C cars. Just Marcus says a very, very clear view of the engine there, with the bonnet missing. Just watching the fixed camera there as the cars head down into the complex from Sunny. And they turn their way now through the right-hander at the second part of the complex, but it's the best battle of the race at the moment for 9th and 10th positions overall between Mickey Scott and Darren Griffin. We've had 11 3/4, no, more like 12 3/4 minutes of the race now. Going to get a change here, I think. Oh, no, Griffin not quite able to get up the inside of Scott there into Clervaux corner for 3rd in the class and 9th overall. There's the class leader, which is Stuart Much. The driver just behind him is David Hughes, just kicked up the dirt a little bit as he got a wheel on the grass exiting the corner.
Warren Vesey has managed to dispose of Marcus Roskill, and on the long straight up towards Tower, he's probably 3/4 the length of that straight behind class leader Stuart Thompson.
Mickey Scott, I think, has lost out there with a bit of a mistake at Tower Corner, so I think that's Darren Griffin ahead of him now for 3rd place within Class C, or is it? No, maybe not. Maybe it's still Scott ahead, beg your pardon. Only a minute or so left on the clock. The last lap board, I think, will go out to Andy Hiley next time he comes through. Andy Hiley just at the moment is at the S's, Clark S's. So it's got about a 1/3 of a lap to go and then one more. There's the 58 car of Scott then, just still ahead of Darren Finn in the fight for 9th and 10th positions. There goes Stuart Thompson going over the line. He's going to win Class B here, I think, because he's a long way clear of Warren Vesey. Vesey having cleared Marcus Roskill, as Marcus said. Mev still merrily battling away.
Last lap board going out now to Andy Hiley.
Yeah, much more successful race it seems this one than the other two has competed in today. The motorsports race when he retired the Elise.
Personal best in the 26s though for the Chaser, 2.48 seconds between them. Lewis Ward chasing well.
Yeah, with that Westfield with the 2-litre Ford Duratec engine car, prepared by Premier Wheel Staff and his team Forward Racing, car owned by Premier Wheels. He's raced it since they've owned it since February this year. New car for Lewis Ward and a new championship for him as well. We've seen him out in the MR2s in the past. There we see him just on screen now. Not far behind Andy Hiley. Actually was 2.48 seconds the gap at the beginning of this lap, but it's come down now.
Yeah, Andy's often quite cautious in the latter stages of a race when he has that advantage. May have an issue of course, but it tends to back off. He's got a big lead just to make absolutely sure. He's got cars ahead of him which probably aren't going to trouble him unless he catches them at the hairpin, which he might.
He might do, you know.
But he needn't do anything about them. Needn't do anything about it. It's going to be a bit of a drag race again, but I think rear-engined, rear-wheel drive engine sitting over the driven wheels is going to prevail. And there we go. Andy Hiley wins it from Lewis Ward by not very much at all actually, and Lewis Ward got the fastest lap of the race.
He did. It was a fantastic effort.
1:25.93.
Absolutely fantastic effort. So Andy Hiley, a double winner at Donington. It's his third win of the season, therefore, in the FreakyParts Sports, Castle Cooper should say, FreakyParts Sports Specials Championship. Lewis Ward, a great final lap from him to get within 2/3 of a second of the winner. Third over the line has gone Paul Boyd. Fourth has gone Clive Hutton, that's 17 and 15. Anton Landon, number 64, takes 5th place. Gary Goodyear, number 56, completes the top 6. And then we get into the MEVs. And they have not yet gone through. Where are they? From a spot where they are. Yeah, here they are. They're coming into the complex now behind our commentary box for the final time. It looks like it is going to be Stuart Much that's going to take the Class C victory once again in his MEV Exocet R. And there we can see the battle for third on screen now. It's Mickey Scott and Darren Griffin. It's going to be Scott that gets the better of that battle. It's Much that's won the class from Hughes. Scott's going to take third. And
Stuart Thompson has somehow got behind Nigel Brown in the A car that led him through. And here comes Stuart Thompson, and in his mirrors he'll be able to see the bright green car of Warren Vesey.
Just as well it was a 15-minute race and not a 20-minute race then from his point of view, I think. So Stuart Thompson gets the Class B win. So we've got two different class winners this time, Andy Hiley and Stuart Thompson. And Stuart Much the only double winner today in the FreakyParts Sports Specials Championship.
His last lap, Thompson, was a 39, and 4 seconds quicker was the Chaser Vesey, having spun on the first lap.
Let's have a look at the results. Andy Hiley the winner then, but only by 0.66 seconds in the end. So 53 the winner from number 4, Lewis Ward, in second place. In third place was number 17, Paul Boyd. Fourth to number 15, Clive Hutchinson, the two eclipses there. Fifth to number 64, Anton Landon, and sixth to number 56, Gary Goodyear. Then came the MEV Exocets from Class C. Seventh, number 7, Stuart Much. Eighth was 76, David Hughes. Ninth, 58, Mickey Scott, and 10th, number 42, Darren Griffin. Outside the top 10 you've got Nigel Brown, and then the Class B cars all sort of finishing consecutively, headed by Stuart Thompson, number 30, then 46 Warren Vesey, 44 Marcus Roskell completing the Class B podium. Then it was Brad Snow, Alan Robinson, Martin Hayward and Sylvia Much, the only other drivers to make it to the finish. And that's all for the FreakyParts Sports Specials Championship this weekend. They're at Brands Hatch next on the 2nd and 3rd of July. And we've got one more race to come this evening here at Croft. That's going to be for the Swallow Hill Homes F1000 Championship. That's going to come up very shortly. But first of all, hopefully we'll be able to head downstairs to the pit lane to hear from our class winners from the FreakyParts Sports Specials Championship. And then we'll have the Swallow Hill Homes F1000s will be joined once again in the box by Elliot Mitchell. He'll join Marcus on commentary for that one. we've got a pleasant evening now at Croft. Blue sky, few fluffy white clouds. It's pleasant. Let's head down to Tom Butterworth in the pit lane for the penultimate time today.
And welcome back to the pit lane with your race winners from the FreakyParts Sport Specials. So, Andy Hilly, allow me to present you with this, first of all. And congratulations, bit of redemption from the first race today. Feeling good about that?
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better about that. I've had 3 races in, that's the first one I've finished, so yeah.
Oh, so definitely redemption then. So what was the problem in the first race, first of all? Walk us through that, and then what happened in race number 2?
In the first race, we shipped the fan belt, so I saw the ignition light come on, so I realised, and I saw the temps going up, so I parked it. No other thing we could do.
Okay, and then in this one, Lewis got the jump off the line, and then you managed to get past and get through. As simple as that? I mean, he was hounding you all the way.
Yeah, he's relentless. Yeah, I managed to get him down into tower. He obviously didn't feel as comfortable on the brakes on the first lap down there. And yeah, then it was we were just watching each other, I think, and watching brief. He came back in the last 2 laps, so he's obviously laying off on his tyres until late on, see what he could do.
Great stuff. Well, thank you very much, Andy, and congratulations on finally getting that win here at Croft. Thank you. So we're going to move on to Stuart Thompson, your Class B winner. So congratulations, Stuart. First win of the day. How was that for you?
It was a bit easier than the race this morning when I left a gap the side of a barn door for Warren to come through on the last lap.
Well, Warren had his own adventures in that race and went off up at Hawthorns. But yeah, if you're going to do that, then he's going to come through it, isn't he? But yeah, didn't do it this time then.
No, it was a lot easier this time, and I kept out the way of the Class Cs. There was just enough ahead not to be a problem, and that was reasonably comfortable, that one, as race wins go. But
didn't feel the need to ease off or anything like that? Were you pushing right the way to the end?
No, I dropped 6 seconds off the last lap.
Well, you brought it home nicely, so congratulations, and yeah, well done again. And finally, double winner today.
Yes.
How was that for you?
That was a bit more interesting.
Yeah, it certainly looked exciting from where we were sitting. There were 4 of you all going at it at one point.
Yes, yeah, I was struggling a little bit with. I got a bit of a misfire on high revs, so every so often it would just cut out and carry on. So I thought I'm going to have to manage this a bit, and kept an eye on the mirrors, kept them behind me, but they were pushing me all the way. Dave and Mickey were at one point very close to taking the place, but yeah, managed it and took it home and.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant and really good to watch as well. So congratulations again. So this is Stuart Much, your Class C winner, and that rounds out your FreakyParts Sport Specials for today. We will move on very quickly to the final race of the day, which will be your F1000s.